What's up, cousins? In today's video I'm going to be showing you how I made this cute triangle tote bag, shoulder bag, whatever you want to call it. It works up with single crochets, so without further ado, let's get into it. For starters, you are going to grab some medium weight 4 yarn and your 5mm hook. Once you have those two things, you're going to start out with the chain of 10. And I promise you guys, this pattern is so easy. You're definitely going to go into flow state, so just keep watching, and once you get there, you're good to go. So like I said, we're going to be working with single crochets for this project. So in that second chain from your hook, you're going to insert one single crochet. And then here on out, you're going to insert one single crochet in each chain down the row until you reach the end. So in the end, you should be ending with 9 single crochets. Okay, so once you reach the end of the row, this is what your work should be looking like. Like I said, you should have 9 single crochets. And then from here, we are going to be working our second row. So from here, we are going to chain up 1, and then we're going to turn our work because we are going to be working back down the row. And for this project, that chain 1 doesn't count as anything, it just acts as a turning chain. So in your first space here, in the first stitch, you're going to insert your first single crochet. And for this second round, we are going to be increasing. So in that same stitch, you're going to go back in with another single crochet. Now once you have your 2 single crochets in the beginning, you're going to go down the row, inserting 1 single crochet in each stitch until you reach your last stitch. So here we've entered our last single crochet, and then you're also going to insert another single crochet in that last stitch as well, because we are increasing. Now for this project, we are going to be working in stripes, but if you're not going to be changing your color, you would just complete that single crochet like such. But because I am going to switch my colors, I'm going to undo that, because this is where you would add on your second color. So on your hook, you should have 2 loops, and with those 2 loops, you are going to add on your next color and pull it through both loops. And that is how you cast on your next color. And then so from here, you have your new color that you're going to be working with, and you're going to chain up 1. And then once you have that chain up 1, you're going to turn your work. Once you have your work turned, you are going to insert 1 single crochet in that first stitch right there. Remember that chain 1 doesn't count as anything other than a turning chain. And if you are somebody who likes to weave in your other yarn as you go, you can by all means do that, but I am not somebody who likes to weave in as I go. I just feel like it looks weird to me, and you can still see the other color beneath your stitches. So I just like to use it in the first stitch just to kind of move it over, but then I just drop it and I don't work with it as I go down the row. So down the row, we're just going to insert 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way down. We're not increasing in this row. We're doing the same thing that we did on our first row. So just work your 1 single crochet in each stitch until you reach the end. And then once you reach the end, we're just going to chain 1 and turn our work. And for this project, we are going to be working 2 rows at a time in each color. And those 2 rows will count as what we would call a stripe. So once you have your single crochets, you're going to chain 1 and then turn your work, and you're going to be working with the same color back down the row. So for this is just going to be a repeat of row 2. So in that first stitch, we're going to insert 2 single crochets. We're increasing in this round. Or row rather. And like I said, I'm not somebody who likes to carry over the yarn as I work, because we work in 2s. So once you reach the end of this row, you're always going to meet up with the color that you left hanging, because we're going to be changing our color at the end of this row. So in that last stitch, we're going to be inserting 2 single crochets, because we're repeating what we did in the beginning of the row. So we start with 2 double crochets, single crochets, and then we end with 2 single crochets. And remember, we're getting ready to switch our colors, so we're not going to finish that single crochet all the way through. So on your hook, you should have 2 loops. So you're just going to grab your hanging yarn in the other color that we're getting ready to switch to and wrap it around your hook and then pull through 2. So now our first color is now our working yarn. So we're going to chain up 1 and then turn our work. And like I said, I always like to carry over the yarn just in the first stitch only, and then I drop it down and then work down my row. So in that first single crochet, I'm going to make sure I carry over that color, and then I'm going to pull up my loop, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2, and that completes my first single crochet. So for this row, I'm just going to insert 1 single crochet all the way down the row without any increases. Alright, so I have made it down the row and I've inserted 1 single crochet in each stitch. And remember, like I said, we're working with 2 rows at a time, and each 2 rows counts as a stripe. So we're working on our second row, and the second row is always going to be an increase row. So in that first stitch, we're going to insert 2 single crochets. Are you guys starting to see the pattern? So it's 1 single crochet in each stitch for that first row, and then in the second row it's going to be 2 single crochets in the beginning and then 2 single crochets in the end. So now that you have your 2 single crochets, you're going to insert 1 single crochet all the way down the row until you reach that last stitch where you're going to insert 2. We're at the end of our stripe here, so we've already completed our 2 rows in this stripe. So now it's time to change the color. So again, you are going to have 2 loops on your hook, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through with your next color. You're going to chain up 1 and then turn our work. So we're just going to be alternating between colors, repeating the same pattern. So in the first row, it's going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch without any increases. And then in the second row, it's going to be increase at the beginning and increase at the end. And once you reach the end of your second row with your color, you're going to switch off and then switch to your next color and repeat the same thing. And we're working with stripes, so each stripe, which would be a total of 2 rows in that color, will count as 1. So you are going to continue this until you have 28 stripes. So right now we only have 3 stripes done. So just go ahead and repeat alternating that pattern until you have 28, and then I will meet you back once I've completed all my 28 stripes. So I have completed all 28 stripes, and this is what the work looks like. So you should have one big long like triangle. We started out with 10 single crochets in the beginning, and it just expanded as we went. So this is what it looks like. And then once you fold it, this will be one side of the bag, and then we're going to do a second one the same exact way, and that's how you work up the bag. So you're just going to need 2 panels of these. So once you have your 2 panels completed, we can now start working on the straps for the bag. So you are going to reattach your yarn in whatever color you choose to the beginning of the panel where we had our 9 single crochets. So you're just going to insert 1 single crochet in each stitch down the row, so you should have 9 at the end of the row. So for the straps, it's fairly easy. We're just inserting single crochets back and forth until it's long enough for whatever we desire. So I'm going to do that for a total of 6 rows. So I'm just inserting 1 single crochet down the row. I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work, and then just go back down the row with 1 single crochet in each stitch. And like I said, repeat that until I have 6 rows of just single crochets. Now if you want to go longer, you can, but that's just how many rows that I did. So here I've completed my 6 rows of single crochets, and this is what the work looks like. I didn't want too long of a strap because I was going more for like a shoulder bag, but if you wanted more like a longer crossbody bag, all you have to do is just do more rows of the single crochets. So once you have your panel, you're going to fold it, and this is what your work is going to be looking like. So like I said, you're going to do this for a total of 2 panels. So this is what your first panel looks like with the strap. So go ahead and complete your second one, and then once you have your second one completed, I'll show you how to put it together. And have some fun with this. You can switch up the colors like I'm going to do. You can use the same colors, whatever you prefer. Just have fun. Alright, so I am back and I have completed my 2 panels, and like I said, I did switch up my colors, so I decided to keep the pink but then change the secondary color to black. So it's kind of giving like an invert outvert type of situation. I was just having fun with it, playing around with colors and just using up some scrap yarn that I have. So yeah, this is how your work looks. You have your 2 panels and they're both folded. So what you're going to do is you're going to fold your panels to where the wrong side is facing out. So once you have your both panels wrong side out, we are going to sandwich them together so that way we can sew them shut. This was a better angle for you guys. So you're just going to place one panel inside of another panel. So we have our orange panel inside the panel with the black, like this. And you just want to do your best to make sure that it's aligned and even to the best of your ability. And then from here, this is what it looks like. So you should have four rows, I guess we will call it 4 rows that we're going to be weaving through. So I'm going to be using my darning needle for this. Now, if you don't want to weave it in this way, and if you decide to do like slip stitch or single crochet, that's completely okay too. It works. But I'm going to be using my darning needle, so I'm just going to make sure that I'm going through all 4 stitches on both panels of the bag and just weaving through. So you're just going to pull your yarn through, and then we're just going to go back over again through this stitch as well. So I'm just going to keep weaving back and forth with the darning needle until I reach the end and the bottom of the bag is sewn all the way shut. Now once we have the bottom of our bag completed, sewn shut, all we have to do is sew our straps together. And for the straps, I am going to be using my crochet hook because I'm going to work single crochets all the way across. I'm not going to weave it through. Alright, so I am going to reattach my yarn. You can use whatever color you want to use. And like I said, I'm going to be working in the back loop, so I'm going into the back loop of the color that's closest to me, so the black, and then I'm going in the, I guess you can say that's the front loop of the orange, but we're only going into one loop of each side. So I'm just going through with my single crochets until I reach the end. Alright, so at this point we have our straps completed. That is sewn shut, and then our bottom of our bag is sewn shut as well. So you can weave in your ends at this point if you want to, or you can wait until after. And I'm going to do mine after. I'm not going to do it right now. So the bottom of our bag is sewn shut. So I'm just going to turn the bag right side out like this. So that way that seam edge isn't showing, it's inside the bag, and it just looks very clean and neat on the outside. Alright, so once you have your bag turned right side out, the only thing left to do is to do some sort of like a top stitch just to connect these two panels together, because right now they're not connected, they're only connected at the bottom. So right here you can see that it's open. So we're just going to go through and weave these two panels together so that it stays shut. So I'm just going to use my darning needle for this because it's just really quick and simple. So I'm just going to weave it through, and there is no particular way that I'm doing this. I'm just making sure that I'm only weaving in on the yellow. I'm sorry, not the yellow, on the pink, because that is the color yarn that I'm using, so I don't want it to go through the yellow. So I'm just weaving my needle through all the pink stripes and making sure I'm going through both panels like this, and then I'm just pulling it all the way through. So I'm going to do that all the way until I reach the end. Alright, so I have completed the front side of the bag of weaving in those two panels together just so that it stays shut, and you can see here this is what it looks like. It's not too bad, it's really neat. If you have another way of doing this to where it comes out neater, please let me know in the comment section so that I can try it on the next bag. But for now, this is what works best for me. So yeah, you're just going to tie a knot just to secure that, and then you're going to cut and fasten off, and then you're going to do the same exact thing on the back side of this bag. And once you have both sides shut, that's when you can go in and just weave in all your loose ends. So once you weaved in all your loose ends, this is how your bag should look once you are complete. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And if you do make this bag and you followed my video, please make sure to tag me in your picture so I can repost to my Instagram story. So yeah, make sure you guys follow and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.